Hello, you guys. Welcome back to 10,000 Miles Away. If you guys don't know, my name is Ali, and I am a volunteer living in Indonesia. Today, I want to talk about my number one struggle, my number one challenge living here in Indonesia. But before doing so, I want to talk first about the timeline and the journey of it all. So maybe you guys know when you join a program, there may be a Facebook group, there may be a WhatsApp group. Well, my organization had that. There was about 80 people in this Facebook group and in the group chat. When the day was approaching to September 25th, 2024, which is when we were supposed to leave the country, there were so many people, myself included, that still had our medical check pending. So things were very uncertain, and we just didn't know if we were going to be going to Indonesia at all. A lot of the people that signed up to volunteer in Indonesia actually had to change countries. They got their visas denied. Some people got their medical check denied. So everything was pretty uncertain. That being said, I didn't really prepare myself as best as I could going into Indonesia, specifically the language. There are some people in my cohort that learned the language beforehand, but for me, I just didn't know if I was even going to be going to Indonesia at all. Like I said, things were uncertain. People were switching countries, people were getting denied. I didn't want to take on studying, taking classes, learning the language if I had to get changed to a whole entire new country, anyways. So, about 2 weeks before my departure date, I got accepted. Everything is approved. I'm ready to go. My mind wasn't into studying the language. Instead, I just took time with my family, with my friends, tried being in the present moment with them. Finally, September 25th, we all leave to Indonesia. Before there was about 80 people supposed to be going to Indonesia, it got cut down to 20 people. Thank God I was one of the 20 volunteers. So, from September, October, November, and the beginning of December, it was training time. That is when all of us, the volunteers and the staff, live in a small town together. We are learning about the organization's mission. We are learning how to be teachers. And finally, we are learning about the language. If you guys couldn't tell, the language is my biggest challenge here. The first 3 months, we were fortunate enough to have really, really intensive and accelerated language learning with a native speaker. This period of time was huge. I didn't realize it in the moment because, we're still in that transformational phase. We're still trying to figure things out and we're still adjusting. However, I did do a pretty good job at learning the language and I did pass the exam that is required at the end of training. December rolls around and we all move from that little small town to our assigned sites. Like I said in my previous videos, my site is as west possible. The closest volunteer to me is 4 hours away. So when I first got to site in December, I was doing everything I can to integrate into the community, meet my host family, meet the teachers at my school, and try to make friends in my community. Yes, of course, knowing the language definitely helps building that bridge. And back in December, my language was really good. I was just coming out of all those classes. So I meet a lot of people, and I'm fortunate enough that some of the people speak pretty good English. However, during the next period of time, I did not get an Indonesian tutor. I wasn't taking classes again for my language. Fast forward up until now, May of 2026, I feel like my language has definitely plateaued. Basically, it was at zero before Indonesia. The first 3 months, definitely getting up there with the language. And then now it's sort of kind of plateaued and maybe even decreased a little bit. Because of my day to day life, I'm an English teacher. I'm constantly teaching my own language to others. I think I sort of just rely on that for communication. And because I already know how to get by with the language, I definitely cannot go into deep conversation. My language ability is probably intermediate. It's definitely not fluent. And I think I am also really hard on myself. And don't give myself enough credit when it comes to how much I know about the language. But that being said, when I first moved to site, I didn't really see that as a priority. Instead, I was just putting my mental health first in terms of feeling comfortable, adjusting, and just trying to stay afloat and really understand that, oh, wow, I'm really doing this. Like, I moved so far away from my family and my friends. Like, I can't believe this is real life. And I kind of went through a phase of just shock and then adjustment. That is really hard to go through. Learning the language, I just sort of let that plateau. It definitely is one of my biggest challenges here, but I want to talk about ways that I overcome the language barrier. So, if you guys don't know, I love sports. I've been playing sports my whole life. Not only does it help my physical health, but also my mental. And I am so lucky enough to say that I have found a community of incredible women at my gym, and we can connect to one another through exercise and working out, going on runs, hiking. It just goes beyond the language. There are other ways to connect with other people just beyond words. Another example is through food. I think that food is a really big love language here in Indonesia. When you enter a household, you are typically served some snacks, some beverages, just as a way to show appreciation. During events, holidays, food is such a shared, valuable, special gift for one another. When we eat, it is family style. So typically in the States, when we go to a restaurant, we just order our own meal and it's very individualistic. But here in Indonesia, we do nasi liwet. And that is where you sort of have this really big leaf placed down on the ground. And we always have rice, chicken, maybe fish, tempe goreng, tahu, sambal, all these delicious foods spread across the leaf. And we actually use our right hand to eat it. And it's such a bonding moment and experience that I am lucky and blessed enough to share with my community here. I want to say the last way that I overcome this challenge is just really pushing myself in the classroom and showing up for my students. Sometimes with my teaching sector, it's difficult for me because I think I'm a person where I need to have all my hard work pay off and I need results right away. Or else I'll feel very discouraged and I'll just feel down on myself. And teaching is tricky because it's not like you're just planting something and watching it grow right in front of your eyes. You can't see the outcome and you can't see the results right away. Teaching is also tricky because it takes two, it's a partnership between the teacher and the amount of effort the teacher can give and the student and how willing they are to learn. So there's a lot of factors that play into my sector where there's a lot of challenges that arise from it. Essentially, I view the language barrier as an opportunity for growth, not just for me, but for my students too. I really push them to learn English. I try to make learning fun, and I want to show them how valuable learning a new language can be, especially when you're so young. So, the language barrier definitely pushes me as a teacher too. That's my number one challenge being a volunteer here in Indonesia. Thank you guys so much for listening to me and my story, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.